Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. The VCT Americas kickoff is officially underway. Two big results going down last night. Reaction from EA to their loss to Loud in controversial fashion, but also 100T setting up another rematch against Sentinels in the second round of the kickoff. Loads of reaction to this in many different places. Very much interested in your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I greatly appreciate it. We begin around the world looking at T1, of course, with their roster going into the new season. Lots to talk about this roster. You guys know that whenever this roster was first formed, I had lots of optimism about their potential, and they've proved that to some degree. How good will they be in region as the season gets underway? That is still a difficult question to answer. Are they, in a position to maybe try and win an international this year? That might be one step too far. But yeah, T1 with the direction they've taken, it's pretty exciting. But Paper X as well. It's not like that Pacific region is going to be easily dominated by any individual team. They did, by the way, tweet this out. Imagine they put out a picture of Cigarette, and then they confirmed shortly afterwards that he is actually back on the team. Not as a player though, but now as a content creator. So they've brought him back in as part of the organization. So I thought that was kind of nice to see. And yeah, a couple of roster related updates of the day. But let's get straight into the kickoff action and some of the results here, because there's lots to get through really. We'll just start in China. We know that the upper quarterfinals happened yesterday. FPX did get the 2-1 win against Titan Esports Club in the end. They won the Pearl 13-6. Of course, we talked about this series because FPX were the favourites for sure. But of course, RB's team, TEC, RB didn't have the greatest final map on the sofa. Then Billy Gaming, they did take the 2-1 win. This was not easy by any means, because of course Billy were the favourites, having got the bye to the second round, and G-Li Gaming had made the run from the first round in pretty impressive fashion, right? Taking down Wolves, which they were not necessarily expected to do so easily. But yeah, Raga had a massive series here, but it wasn't enough. 13-11 on the Haven, 13-11 back the other way on the Lotus, and then the Abyss again was another 13-11 banger with Hoozy dropping 30 and 16 for the dub. So yeah, banger series, and Billy move on to play FPX in the second rounds. Obviously, G-Li Gaming will be gutted about losing in the manner that they did. They dropped down to losers. Trace Esports, by the way, they've just closed out their 2-0 win. This was much more emphatic, 13-8, 13-7 in the ends on the Pearl and the Abyss, respectively. So they move on to the upper semi-finals. Dragon Ranger Gaming will play Tai Lu in the lower side, and then Edward playing Nova. This is just about to get underway. So Edward, of course, will be the heavy favourites here, as you'd assume at least. Historically, Edward Gaming. Internationally, who knows what you're going to get. But of course, they are the reigning world champions. But still, internationally, you never really have known what you're going to see from Edwards. In region, they have almost always dominated their home turf. So I don't necessarily expect that to change here, especially because some of their on-paper competitors have had harder times in their earlier games. But Trace Esports are nice, and they will likely match up in the upper semi-finals, one would well imagine. Let's talk EMEA. Liquid, they got the dub against Movistar KOI. It was not convincing, it was not clean, it required a monster series from Keiko to make it happen. Of course, KOI here, the team that Flyer has joined from the Americas and is trying to take them and lead them to the next level. The fracture was 13-10 to KOI. But then Liquid really came to form, 13-3, 13-10. Wasn't especially close after that, right? So yeah, I mean, on KOI's pick, to get 13-3 on your own pick, that's pretty rough, especially when you've just won the other team's pick. And then the binds was, in the end, it was Team Liquid's map, a great map here from Keiko on the Brimstone. So Liquid get the dub there. The series that people were really looking forward to, though, was seeing this one. So Apex versus Gentlemates, to see how Floor would fare on this roster and just how good this team would be. Floor had many great highlights in this series, such as this one, Mega 1 versus 3 here to close out the round. The problem is, the rest of the team is just terrible. Like, I can't see what other way to describe it as. As Zelsa says, Floor's the GOAT. But, like, get Floor some help, right? I mean, come on, what are we doing here? And as Mel says, of course, who played with Floor on SR, what are we doing when they've gone for, like, a hero Vandal, right? So, classic strategy in CS, of course, in Valorant as well. Sometimes when the economy is in a certain position, you say, all right, we're going to take, a hero AK, they'd call it, but basically a hero Vandal, and just say, all right, we're going to buy one weapon, give it to typically the star player and see what happens there. But no, Molsey takes the AK or the Vandal, and Floor has a classic. So Mel is like, this would not be, as Mel says, I think FEs would find me $10,000 if I ever had a Vandal, while Floor had a classic, right? So yeah, not typically the strategy, really. But yeah, I don't know. They can make their own decisions and they can make them as controversial as they like. Kind of reminds me a bit of if you guys used to watch Na'Vi and CS back in the day when Zeus would, be taking the hero AK and Simba would have a Deegan or something like that. So in the end, it's a 2-0 loss for Apex. They go down to Gentlemate. Floor tried, but really they just got battered. It was just not a good team performance at all. So Floor top of the scoreboards. Multi was 19 and 34. Odorous, their coach, I mean, look, okay, they've got a sub, right? They've not got their player that they wanted, but he's their assistant coach, substitute, and yet he was their second best player. Like, are we serious right now? Not pretty, really not pretty. So Gentlemates won 13-7 and then 14-12 in the end. Robbie BK didn't have the best, map here on the Haven, but it didn't matter in the end. They did get the job done. So, not a pretty one for Apex so far. They'll drop down to the losers bracket. We'll see where that puts them right about now, actually, because we've got some games coming up today as well. So Fnatic BBL and Vitality KC, they happen today. And then in the lower side, of course, we'll see that play out in the relatively near future. Let's talk about the Americas, though, because a couple of big games going down there yesterday. Obviously, Boostio was gearing up for the series against MIBR, as it turned out. Aspas and MIBR against 100T. This, I thought, was pretty interesting as well to compare their rivalries as players, because they've matched up with each other a number of times at, all these different events at the Americas, Masters Tokyo, Champions Los Angeles, etc., etc. And this is Aspas versus Boostio, and it's 4-4 in their careers. So, of course, last night gave another answer, and somebody was going to have to take the victory there. But EG played Loud yesterday, a series that we've seen multiple times, not the same Loud that we've seen before, and of course not also the same Evil Geniuses that we have seen before. And EG, was semi-disappointing to me, I think, because I thought, again, it's like kind of a classic Evil Geniuses, really, where they show some promise, they have some good moments, but in terms of executing over the course of 2 maps, it doesn't always happen. And Yay did pick up the chamber, right? So this was exciting to watch. But yeah, Derek and the EG boys, they went down 0-2 to that. It was a close series, but they just weren't good enough. Pankada, certainly Cowanzan, had a great series here. And also DGZan, right? We've got to talk about it because there's obviously been discussion about the return of Yay, the return of others to the pro scene in the top side of the Americas, but also, DGZan is back on Loud. And we know that he's been a very talented player in his day as well. As Ye says, some weird whiffs and me, always fun to play those guys. So look, they've still got a lower bracket run to potentially make, and like the reality is this kickoff tournament, obviously you're trying to make it to Masters Bangkok, but realistically I think Evil Geniuses probably know, okay, we're not maybe going to be top 2 this tournament given the way that things have gone, so you're just trying to get as much practice and understanding it as possible. And ideally, you wanted to beat Loud to make that happen. But yeah, Yay, it was 35 and 33. Great series, though, from DGZan, Cowanzan, of course, and, Vinny, Pankada, Toys. It's an interesting team they put together. I don't think it's as good as some of the previous rosters that they've had, but it's cool to see some of these names really delivering. The split was 14-12, a map that definitely EG will feel like that could have been the opportunity, but DGZan of the Rays was mega. Yay on the Chamber had an okay map, but, maybe not quite good enough. Derek had a bit of a rough time, and then the poll was 13-10. So it was close, it was competitive, but it wasn't quite good enough in the end. The other series, though, was 100T MIBR, and this, of course, was a big one. Winner plays Sentinels, of course, and this is MIBR with Aspas in their team. But unfortunately for Aspas, despite the fact that, look, he was still their top performer, I think one of these maps, it was obviously too late for me, but yeah, the Lotus, he had a rough time. He then, of course, bounced back on the binds, but in the end, it wasn't good enough. He was topping the numbers, but the rest of the guys, not up to speed. So this was an excellent, well-rounded performance here from 100T. Asuna entering the site, everything else closing out. Boostio, IGLing masterclass on the binds. So, impressive results. I still think Sentinels are the favourites when they play 100T in a couple of days, but I do think that you could argue 100T are looking maybe even better than I thought they would on this map. Lotus especially 13-4 in MLBR's pick, and then the binds was 13-9 with a very impressive second half as well after going down 8-4 in the first. So definitely several storylines to take away from this one. MIBR I didn't expect them to be that good. I don't think they are based on this evidence. So MLB are probably slightly worse than I thought they would play, and Lao's probably slightly better than I thought they would play. So Boostio, of course, very satisfied with the 2-0 victory. As Asuna says, did it for the fans, not the year to start off slow. Appreciate the support, buy the bundle, etc, etc. And Era FPS was kind of clowning George Geddes here. I think he's doing a great job with his own company. I know that he talked about that the other day. But as he says, maybe I will literally beat 100T. And, well, that's not exactly what happened. Boostio says, guy that's got no idea what he's yapping about. Now, of course, what this does set up is in the second round on the upper side, it is going to be Sen 100T. It could have been Sen Aspas, Sen MLBR technically, or it could have been Sen 100T, but no, that's exactly what they get. The chances of playing 100T, as always, are basically guaranteed, and this is the way the bracket looks. So, of course, today we have 2 more games. NRG play Cloud9. Of course, I mean, all of these games are big, but that is a big one for sure. And then 2-game Furia. This is the 2-game team versus Khalil, Muzera, Havoc, Heat, or Rafa, or is it? We're pretty sure that that is not going to be at all the roster that Furia are rocking with, as we talked about in yesterday's video. But NRG play Cloud9, winner plays G2. 2-game play Furia tonight, winner plays Lev. And then, of course, on the, well, it's the 18th of January, tomorrow evening, but morning my time on the next day, 100T Sentinels is going to be the matchup on the second side. So, yeah, excited for that one. Not sure exactly why 100T isn't populating here in this second round, but that is going to be the game. Sentinels, 100 Thieves. They have won that series. And very much interested to hear all of your thoughts on this stuff in the comment section below. So hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.